Hi there.
Hello, Chad. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I really like the three guitars. Well, two guitars and a banjo in the background.
It's a what do you call it? A gitanjo or something. It's strung like a guitar, but it's a banjo.
Oh, wicked! How many
'Cause
times
I don't
did
know
you?
how to play. I can't do the reverse tuning on the banjo. So, but Gretsch makes a banjo that's strung in the guitar tuning. So I thought it was cool.
There was a
Should I
guy.
look at my background, you think, or what's preferable? Or should I
Leave,
put
use that background.
it? Okay.
And I'm wondering if you can tilt because we just have this ray of light coming down.
Hold on. It comes off one of my.
That's better.
Yeah.
There you
Okay.
go. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. I, I'm I'm switching from one computer to another, and I was like trying to get it done before this, but then I didn't. So I'm at a little bit of a different angle because I've got a crowded desktop right now using my older computer before I transferred all of this new one, but it's all good. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. We had a mini vacation. We went to Alicante, which is it's funny how much Spain changes. You just go for a little drive. Um, it changes. Canada doesn't change. You drive 2 hours in a car. Canada's the same. Spain's a lot different, and
Yeah.
so we went up. It's a beautiful place. It's got amazing beaches, mountains.
Is it on the east or the west coast? Which
It's kind of like the bottom, towards the bottom of the East Coast. So it's still in the Med, but it's before you get into that channel with North Africa.
I got you. Yeah, it's I've been to San Sebastian. I have not been to like Ibiza and all that stuff on the Mediterranean side. Been to Barcelona. Went to Croatia last year, the year before, which was amazing. I had no idea how great it was to travel there. Um, the
We're going there in
Adriatic,
August.
what's that?
We're going to Croatia in August.
It, it's amazing. I had no idea. There are 2,600 islands associated with Croatia, like as part of Croatia. And the Adriatic is so much shallower than the rest of the Mediterranean that it's just not like the big, crazy, turbulent waters that you get down around Greece and everywhere else. Um, but you can't go to that many islands. I mean, so we actually chartered a boat, and it was just my family on a catamaran, and that was great for a week. But you can really only see a handful of anything. And next time I'd want to go up north where the olive oil's produced on a lot of the northern islands, closer to like Venice and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you're right there in the pocket of like just so much rich culture, food, music, art, everything.
I know Spain had 11 languages 150 years ago. It's only recently gotten, and it's like the it's really kind of like um, how should I say it? There's um, there's all these little mini cultural pockets that are like thousands of years old. Like my mom, she made offerings as a child to a pagan goddess, and the Santa Claus was originally a woman.
I didn't know that.
Um, yeah, what happened is that there's a pagan goddess um, in the Mediterranean that you made offerings to. And if you were a good kid, you'd get a present. If you're a bad kid, you'd get a naughty thing. And then after Christianity, she got demoted to a witch. So in some parts of the med, it's Coca-Cola changed it. Coca-Cola wiped her out, and but you would give it'd be this Christmas witch. I think it's pretty good.
I'm trying to get rid of this glare off my glasses, but I don't know really where it's coming from. Um,
I think you're all right.
okay. And then there's, what do you think? This is a warmer light versus a bluer light.
Warmer light.
Okay. All right.
You're good. We're getting more registrations off the Facebook page than off
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
that's a pretty interesting strategy that seems to be working. Um, when I was talking briefly with Anna, she may have expressed this to you that she just sort of like didn't necessarily have the bandwidth to do as much on her own and in her own like persona, like she than what you had sort of suggested. So I was trying to brainstorm on that a little bit. Like I think it looks a little strange if I'm the one posting links everywhere trying to gain attention, but if there's like an agent or a suite of uh agents that are posting, it looks a little less contrived. I
I'm just testing, and what I'm doing is I'm not necessarily I'm not always posting an event link,
Yeah.
and I'm only doing a few posted. I've only basically just started. I just started with like six posts, six comments, and just to see, I didn't want to go guns blazing and do like 100 comments on the first day and then find out later. And mostly what I do is I just say something supportive that's genuine, and then I just, oh, by the way, we're doing this, and that's it, and
Yeah.
that's landing.
Yeah,
So
it seems to be like every single post gets a lot more impressions than my LinkedIn posts do. uh,
and
and I think,
also it's about like LinkedIn's changed in the last 4 months. They do something called social graph. Um, I actually noticed it. I misdiagnosed it actually when it first happened. I noticed the change. I didn't understand what was happening, but I know now what it is. Is it analyzes the text of your post and it evaluates, are there a lot of people expressing interest in this? And then the algorithm will go, oh, is there a lot of people expressing interest in this? And then it ramps up your visibility if the answer is yes. So and this is a thing, it's a weird, because you're talking to a person, you're addressing an audience, but you're also in a conversation with the LinkedIn algorithm, and the LinkedIn algorithm isn't talking back,
hmm,
but you're in a conversation with the LinkedIn algorithm, whether you realize it or not.
okay.
And it's kind of like this problematic friend who doesn't give you any feedback, but you figure out 3 months later that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's changing so rapidly. They're using AI and analytics and all sorts of algorithmic tweaking. So
I think what LinkedIn does is they'll move last. So if another social media platform tries something new, they'll wait 3 to 6 months to see if they'll adopt it. They're basically they don't really innovate, but they follow what the other platforms are doing.
I gotcha.
And there's dependable and boring.
That's good. That's kind of like the early days of Facebook where they were just trying to figure out what you wanted to see and then they'd spit it back to you. Now it's so huge that the iterations are not as transparent, but interesting. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. So yeah, thanks for putting together a potential proposal. It sounds great. I'm uh I'm working on trying to come up with a global strategic PR marketing plan that I could see that being a huge part of pretty quickly. I'm just like in these meetings right this minute to try to figure out who I want to go down that road with. So I will definitely keep you. I'm not like ignoring getting back to you on it. I appreciate your efforts on that because I think it's working and it makes good sense. And you're giving, as affordable of a hourly time as anyone could ever hope for. So I think that would work great.
Takes time. I hear what you're saying. I thought about going that direction, but I actually want to stay super specialized.
Yeah, no, we're I'm hoping to scale big pretty soon. And in order to do that, I probably do need to like pair with a really experienced outcomes based, strategy who's got, their feet wet in digital, social, print, all that. And I've got a few good leads, I think, on people to work with, but I don't know, just one of the balls I'm juggling.
I think that makes a lot of sense actually. Like one of my other clients sends me, they got one of those people, and then like I work with them.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm like the sidecar. And but don't worry about that. And I'm probably going to amend it because I was actually thinking you want to actually string it out a little bit more, less hours a month, maybe over 3 months. Because I think actually an hour a day might be too much. It
I could
might
see that.
be too much. And you want to like, well, one thing I was noticing is I don't want to spray and pray on all these ones. I just want to be like, you know, I want to do,
Surgical.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the and I'm
Did
also
you meet with have you met and interviewed and gotten to know Doug Flora or Sarah Luden that she just brought on?
I'm not I chat with him on in the comment sections and by email. I've never actually met him in the over Zoom.
Real
Me,
nice guy, real smart, but he's got like a global strategy on what he's trying to do. He's deep in the AI space and he's a really good guy and a good doctor, but he's tethered with a lot of people who are a little more variable than he is. He's great. It's just something like sometimes he'll say, "Oh, I think this," but you have to realize it's sort of like his opinion to help some people that you may not be aware he's trying to help, kind of thing. It's all good, but he works with a social media guy that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's I don't think he'll bring him in.
have you
He's
met Conjally?
I'm not in person. How do you say your name again?
Ikanjali. Hello. Hi,
Actually,
Chad.
yeah. Hey, thanks so much. I really enjoyed the last one that you
Yeah.
in, and I told Jose about that. I thought you came across great, communicated well, kept the conversation going in the right direction. So
He's the
Yeah.
best. He's
Yeah.
the best.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. Hopefully we can build upon that today and really get into more nitty gritty, as it were. But nice to meet you and yeah, excited to hear from you. To be honest,
Noise.
bit of a boo-boo on my part, Jose. I thought it was 6 to 7 p.m.
Is it?
Yeah, but that's a boo-boo on my part. All good. All good.
So are you in the UK or where are you?
Yeah, I'm here in London. So British summertime currently. It has been lovely weather here. Yeah, have you been to London ever? Do you know
It's crazy.
anyone
I've
around
traveled
here?
I've traveled a lot. Only two continents left on my list still. But for whatever reason, England and the UK have not been a destination point. And then because it's not like a connection for me, I have not. It's strange, but
well, now you know somebody in London, so you
Yeah.
can always reach out to me if you ever fancy coming to one of our conferences here or something like that.
Of course. I mean, I think so. We try to, things changed a lot after 9/11 way back when, but I was always going out of the country a couple times a year. I was in Morocco on 9/11, and that was like not the best experience. It was really hard to get out of that country. And culturally, it was not a good vibe place to be. But since then, we travel a lot. I've got 3 kids, and I want them to experience as many cultures as possible. But we usually try to do sort of off the beaten path stuff. And so the big cities don't draw us as much. But I know London's amazing. We've done Manhattan a few times.
Yeah.
So
You need
maybe
to
I'll
post it.
combine a London Paris thing at some point.
Yeah. Where are you, Chad?
I'm in Atlanta in Georgia.
Okay. Yeah. Eric Doherty, Jose, he's from Atlanta, isn't he? He's one of
I
he's
thought it
with you. Yeah.
Who's that?
He's not a clinician, but involved on the investing side, I think, of healthcare, if I remember correctly.
founder.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot going on in Atlanta. It's a boom town for tech, entertainment,
there's
health.
a lot of things there now.
Yeah, no, I was in Nashville not too long ago. And I mean, I was just blown away by America when it comes to healthcare and how.
Well, Nashville's booming as far as health tech goes.
Right. I mean, extremely commercial. And as a clinician, sometimes that feels unfamiliar, but it was nice to get this sense of like, we have all these brilliant minds looking at our problems and trying to find solutions to them. And that is what is really hard to get here, where, healthcare can feel quite stagnant. It's not paid very well. So getting people to even look at the issues at hand when they can go to fintech or, biotech, etc. That's always a challenge. So you just got the sense of there's a real talent pool here and the excitement.
It's a double-edged sword, right? There's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, but the problems are pretty basic and fundamentally difficult to change. I'm excited about tech. I'm excited about AI. I'm keeping up quite well with it in all these spaces. But I think we need to stop short of being these blind cheerleaders that it's the solution. It's not going to get us over the fundamental politics and economics that have created the current landscape. Nashville's great. I mean, there's tons of stuff moving in one direction and in a number of directions, but it's tied in with venture capital and politicians and some clinicians
on the boards.
Kendra, I made you co-host, and the reason why I did that is there's a massive thunderstorm where I'm at.
Oh God, it's typical, isn't it? Yeah, no worries, Jose.
So just in case, whatever, I disappear or I get electrified or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got the wheel. I think actually I'm going to be kind of an afterthought during the event. You're going to be doing most of it like you did last time. I'm just going to be there keeping things on time, and I'm going to be. And by the way, this is actually a meeting, not a webinar. And the reason why I did that is because I know there's going to be less than 100 people. And 2, I want to give the option, if a few people want to hang back, I can just flick their cameras on at the end, and we can have a little, if we want to have a chat after the event, I don't have to send people to a different Zoom link. When we do a webinar, it's a pain in the ass. But if it's a meeting, and basically, if it's less, if you want to do an after event chat and it's going to be less than 100 people, it's better off as a meeting than a webinar. So I'm going to be turning everyone's cameras and microphones off, and at the end, I will enable them. So if people want to hang back and they want to say something, it's a different conversation if the cameras and microphones are on, basically.
Sure.
And
I'm just going to grab some water. Are we
on mute?
How do you say the other doctor's name? His first name?
Saro.
Sariskian?
Yeah.
Sarkeesian?
Okay.
I don't know.
Said that right.
That's his last name. He's a great guy.
Seemed pretty interesting.
We've got Jerry's and Ella. We've got people in the waiting room. I'm not going to bring him in. I'm going to message them. I'm just going to message them. Thank you. Don't bring. Oh, okay. Thank you for coming.
This is starting at, like, the formal portion is going to start in 40 minutes. Is that correct?
Let's see. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're way early.
Yeah, we're real early. I just want to, the cleaners that are vacuuming, I want to be able to tell them to stop when we get close to that time.
We don't hear anything.
Yeah, right this second it's not. A minute ago there it is, and it echoes throughout this whole room. So I just wanted to avoid that.
We start in 40 minutes, not in 10 minutes.
That's right.
The link that that's what I thought. I thought it was a 6 to 7.
I saw it starting, but actually, you know what it is? I actually went in, I saw the calendar block. The calendar block includes the rehearsal. I thought, oh, I better get in. It starts in 30 minutes. Boom. I forgot, actually. It's like, oh no, that calendar block includes, I blocked off the rehearsal. And I'm doing like, I'm going to like 3 or 4 events a week. Bloody hell. And we have people signing in really, really early. Like, see what it says on the event page.
Well, that says 5:30 to 6:30, I thought. The one that you just sent in the WhatsApp.
Oh. No, it says it starts in 10 minutes. No, we don't. We start in 10 minutes. Where?
Oh, we do.
We do start in 10 minutes.
All right. I thought, yeah, I didn't know. I might have seen a few different ones. Dick and Jolly, so you're part of NHS, or what's your background?
Oh yeah, I trained in the NHS. I'm with HCA Healthcare now. You will know HCA, but in their corporate structures. So leading on a digital transformation project nationwide here. We're getting onto one unifying EHR, and then looking at, AI and all of that thereafter. So I practice enough to keep my license, but not really so much anymore. It's becoming more of a, a corporate role. So I can keep up with some of what you're saying, most of what you're saying. If you get very technical, then I shall defer to ChatGPT.
What kind of medicine you practice?
Well, I was actually the lead. I was a senior resident, so I hadn't made it to attending. I'd have to go back to the NHS to do that, which is why I just didn't complete my CCT.
Yeah.
But it was in oncology. It was in acute medicine and oncology at the Wellington Hospital. I don't know if you
I've heard of it.
Leaders in Oncology is like a networked group of oncologists. They sold to HCA. So I was their sort of lead senior resident, pre-CCT with them. So yeah, it was fun. I just couldn't face going back to the NHS, if I'm honest with you, Chad.
Oh, I get it. There's no perfect system out there. They all have their warts.
Yeah.
US is unique in that we just spend so much money on it and we don't have much to show for it. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can still get a liver transplant if you're 75, as opposed to some socialized systems where that's not happening.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I have a few minutes with you. I might as well just clarify what I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
So Anna wanted me to get you to talk about the patient's need for more information and how doctors need a tool to help them talk to patients. That's what she's written to me. Did you have a specific area you wanted to cover or any specific questions? I was going to sort of go quite broad, why this tool, why you think it would be helpful.
So my practice, I started this unique practice 2 years ago after practicing for 20 something years. I mean, I am focused completely on patient advocacy and navigation at this point, because that every iteration to consolidate healthcare into systems or insurance plans or products just leads to more and more corporatization in institutional medicine. And so what we have, it's really amazing. We've got all this personalized precision medicine moving in the science of what we can do. And then in the opposite direction, we have the landscape moving in a more corporate manner. So the individual gets lost in the corporate setting, and the corporate setting isn't able to stay as on top of all the scientific emerging breakthroughs that can enhance the individual care. So there's a gap that's just getting wider and wider. And most of what for years, I love oncology. I love practicing it. I love helping patients, but I spend more time with patients now than I did full time as a treating doctor. And the needs are really much more in supporting the individual on their cancer journey and their decisions and their expectations and all the twists and turns that come with it. Is it be it insurance or second opinions or clinical trials or just availability to discuss any aspect of their treatment, side effects, treatment options, pros and cons. Do they trust, their team? Can they work with one doctor in one system and another doctor in another? So there's a lot of hurdles, and that kind of breaks down to really just creating a space to be as available as possible with someone who's experienced in the landscape. And so yeah, I can talk. And my background's like existential philosophy and liberal arts, and that was all where I trained before I went into medical school and have a master's in those things. So I think maybe I've got a uniquely humanistic approach to how patients are affected by a cancer diagnosis and then how it affects every decision that they are faced with. So I can talk a lot about the need for enhanced informed consent and helping patients speak the language of the medical terms and what it takes to get them back engaged in their own care. I mean, so sure, I don't really work with pediatrics. I don't work with pediatrics or like the hematologic stuff, but everything else.
Anna, the event starts in 3 minutes.
Let me go put the
event starts in 3 minutes. Coming in. Anna's coming in. Go. Here she goes. Here she is.
Hey,
Hello, Anna.
how is this possible when I thought it was at 1 o'clock? Okay, and I told everybody it's at 1 o'clock. Here it is. We video. Okay, video. Okay. How's that?
You look great. Why don't you unblur your background? You have a nice background. You don't want it. You want it. You don't want it.
I'm going to go like that a little bit and unblur. Where is the unblur? Unblur. How's that?
Yes.
That's it here.
I didn't know the conclave lit the white smoke. I didn't know that happened.
We did. We have a pope.
That's what it said. I just saw on TV when I walked out there.
And he is it like in a movie and he's a hermaphrodite, you know, in that movie. Okay.
Don't know.
I didn't watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. I'm just saying, okay. Is there like
Don't ruin it for me. I heard it was good.
Sorry. Okay. I apologize for the spoilers. Okay, it's a great movie, except the ending I think is a bit weird. But other than that, great.
Who's speaking first?
Ekanjali speaking first. We have a script, and she is on top of it all. Okay, she knows it all.
I'm half an hour earlier than I was expecting to be, but I'll be fine.
Exactly. How is this possible? Okay.
All good.
I screwed up with the placeholder that I sent out.
Okay. Well, so we still need Sarah.
We're gonna bring. Well, how we? What order is he
I
in?
told him a rehearsal is it yeah, he is Ekanjali, and I do a demo, then there's Sarah, and then there's Chad, as you know, he's our like senior author of the webinar, like that. Okay, and then it's me at the end again. Well, it's Ekanjali throughout, right?
Yeah.
That. Okay, so I can text you.
Here, Sarah's here.
Opa, Sarah's here. Okay. Oh, Sarah, I screwed up. I told you it's 12:30 rehearsal, but actually it was 12:30 webinar.
Okay.
So it's good to hear.
How you doing, Sarah?
Good. How are you?
It's
Very
good you're on time kind of person. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting. I said, let me wait until 1, but no.
By the way, guys, if any of you guys want to hang out after the event and chat with any of the guests, I can do that.
I'm hanging out till 2. I cannot hang out much beyond 2. Is the
Yeah,
webinar an hour and a half? I thought it's an hour.
An hour.
It is an hour.
Okay.
You know what? No, it's
Yeah, I have clinic after 1:30, so I have to head out.
Exactly. 1 hour. Okay, we should start.
Okay.
all right, everybody. I'm going to spotlight Oncology. And I'm going to start letting people in.
Great.
And everyone in meeting. Review. Okay. Submit all. They're going to start coming in. All right, everybody. We're live in 3 seconds. There we go. We are live.
Hello and welcome to Oncoscope-AI and our second webinar in this series. My name is Dr. Ekanjali Dhillon, and I am your co-host for this webinar. I'm also joined by Jose Garcia, who is with us and also co-hosting this alongside our esteemed guests. And we have an action-packed webinar lined up for you. So before we come on to the guests, just a minute to recap what some of the things that we touched upon in our last webinar. We spoke about trust in the region of AI and oncology quite broadly, and also spoke to the issue in the area around the amount of clinical research that currently we are managing to develop with the uptick in technology, the new drugs that are being discovered at a rapid pace, and the incredible amount of research that's coming into the spheres for clinicians to be able to digest and provide patients the optimal care. This presents a really unique challenge. There's too much to read and there's too little time. And we recognize that patients really should be getting the most cutting edge treatments available. And our guidelines, whilst they are updated regularly, they really can't move fast enough. And so that presents this unique challenge for our clinicians on the ground today, our oncologists, our heme-oncologists as well, to be able to provide our patients with the most timely, the most specific and optimal care possible. Clinical decision at the same time, and clinical decision fatigue rather, is becoming a real problem for our clinicians. And that can impact ultimately the care that they're able to provide. So what does this mean for today? Well, we have Anna Forsyth joining us, the founder of Oncoscope-AI, and we'll be coming on to her very shortly to actually talk us through some of the solutions in this area, or one solution in particular. And then we're also joined by Dr. Saro Sarkeesian, an oncologist, as well as Dr. Chad, who's also an oncologist. And they will be talking and situating what the landscape looks like right now, and talking us through some of that. So with no further ado, I'd like to invite Anna to join me.
Thank you. Thank you
Hi.
very much. Yes.
Good afternoon, Anna. So we'd love to hear from you with regards to really what Oncoscope-AI does in this area, and perhaps even a demo.
Yeah, I'm very happy to do a short demo. Actually, it's a great timing because we are live today. Actually, happened to be today is the day that we launched the tool live and make it available to all verified healthcare professionals. I would like to give more time to our physicians to talk about the experiences with the tool and with other tools around there. So I'm going to concentrate on a demo right now. I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay. And okay. Okay, well, once Jose is going to let me share the screen. Okay, absolutely. And okay. And well, that is a lot of things on my screen. Okay. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to close all of that. Okay. And okay. Okay. And here it is. So Oncoscope-AI is a real-time oncology library. Because we understand that oncologists need up-to-date information and that information must be reliable. Systematic literature review is the gold standard of data source. So we conduct a systematic literature review daily. It is automated with the help of multiple AI models that are automating individual steps in the systematic literature review process. At the end, we extract 32 variables from each publication and create a database that is very, very rich and very, very clean and easily filterable. It is 100% human-powered and AI augmented. When you log into the database, you have a choice of lung or breast cancer. These are the two cancers we have as of this point. We are busily working on prostate and then followed by bladder, melanoma, and further solid tumors. That's where we're starting. But today, I will just show you the breast cancer because that's one of our first ones. Once you log in, you have quite a simple screen with a filter panel on the left and the treatment path appearing on the right as you select things in the treatment panel, which should be the questions, which are the questions the doctors usually answer in order to make the treatment decisions, such as patient's characteristics, biomarkers, risks, and where they are in the treatment path. Once you selected the treatment path, you can also try to see what specific treatments are approved and in the guidelines. We also, as you could see here, show information that is beyond the guidelines. So if there is a well-conducted pivotal clinical trial that released the results, similarly this week, we've heard about a new treatment in adjuvant setting for the breast cancer. It is already in our tool. We not only search the PubMed, we search also the Congress proceedings and sometimes important press releases as well. As you could see, these are 6 studies related to the ADCs, specifically in the HER2 negative third line setting. And once you are here, you could just explore the results. You see the second page. And the second page looks exactly like the first page, except instead of the treatment path, you actually have the study listing. You will have all the studies. You can scroll down and see all of the ones selected. They are very carefully tagged to show you what is approved, what is in the guideline recommended, what is not, what maybe is investigational or beyond the guideline at this point. Additionally, you could sort this view and see the most recent publications on top. You can add hidden fields or variables because, as I mentioned, we extract 32 different variables. So beyond OS, PFS, you could see other variables. And finally, for those of you more in the research who would like to understand what is our protocol for conducting systematic literature review, you can download that as well. So that is it. It's a very simple tool, no training required whatsoever. It is available live now. And to get a free license, you just have to complete the contact form on our website. So as easy as that. Oh, and I am no longer in Zoom. Stop sharing. Okay, here we are.
Thank you, Anna, for taking us through that really quickly. But actually, you were able to lay out within that time frame how much time that potentially buys back for the clinicians, so they can actually focus on what's in the study rather than the time spent trying to get to the right study or keeping up with the research when there's so much coming out. Thank you so much. At this point, I'd love to invite Dr. Sarkisian to the stage, to the floor. And I've got a couple of questions for you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, well, I guess skeptics, let's start with them, shall we? Skeptics might say, you know, why can't I just use ChatGPT to find this information? That's evolving at a exponential pace. Why that? And why not just go there? Why would I use this tool? So could you provide that context to us as a clinician?
Absolutely. So again, thanks for having me and glad to be part of the panel here. So Anna touched on a very important tool, which is that as a practicing clinician, as you see, I'm wearing my white coat right now because I'm in between seeing patients. The challenge that we face is keeping up to date and providing reliable and evidence-based medicine care to our patients. ChatGPT is a very important tool. Obviously, we all use it. However, we need that human insight because at the end of the day, we need verified medical information, verified and vetted information. What Anna is doing is phenomenal because it's augmented AI, basically using automated system with human oversight, which will lead us to better outcomes. Other GPT boxes or bots can give us information, which could be generalized. But when we are talking about specific cases as well as literature review, this tool is giving us very important literature. I can be as concise as possible if I'm in between patients, and if I'm seeing a particular patient, I need to know what is approved, what is not. I can just use that. But if I want to be very comprehensive and I just want to review the literature, what is out there, how many papers are published and where we are, it's a great tool. And I also see the educational part of it. If I were a trainee, if I were a fellow who's specializing in oncology, and if I'm preparing a presentation or if I have a journal club or grand rounds, I can start here. I can just pull the information. If I be more practical, for example, we know certain patients with kidney cancer with bone metastases, they will benefit from certain immunotherapy in a combination with the TKI. This is not in the guidelines. The guidelines do not specifically tell us to use this, but from literature, from what's published out there, we know that this combination of treatment of TKI and immunotherapy is better for this patient. A tool like this will enable me, because I will go back, I will put this information with bone metastasis, and then I will know based on this published literature as well as data and references. These are all peer-reviewed journals as well. I know what treatment to offer my patients, be very up to date, and give them the best chances ever, including their survival, progression-free overall survival, as well as their side effect profile as well.
Yeah, thank you. There's the two really important points there. Obviously, the angle around what the time that you're able to buy back and give to the patient, but also the education piece. So before we come on to that, are there any examples where you've been able to use this in your practice, or any specific cases that you've encountered where a tool like this would potentially provide significant value? Have you managed to put it into practice yet?
Yeah, so I actually showed it to my colleagues during our tumor board discussion, I do not necessarily see. I focus primarily on GI and GU oncology, but I showed it to one of my one of my colleagues who's a breast oncologist, and I showed her the tool that, for example, if you have a patient with metastatic HER2, hormone positive, HER2 negative with bone metastases, we know that guidelines obviously they lack. They take some time until these guidelines are updated. It could be a few months, it could be a few weeks as well. So I showed them that when you have this particular patient with this receptor status with bone metastasis versus liver metastasis, maybe you should consider this one based on published data and literature review. So it helps us. And also, I think, maybe Anna can share it later, but when you go back, when I start with bone metastasis, for example, and I go back, and that will give me all the options of knowing which treatment will be better for this patient. So from an educational perspective, for trainees, it will be very helpful and informative. But also during tumor board discussions, again, guidelines take their time. So this is a great tool for us to be up to date. If you see majority of patients, oncology patients, they get their care at community centers, roughly 70 to 80% of patients in the United States. So not in academic institutions. And these doctors, they're in general oncologists. They see breast cancer, followed by lung, followed by different types of cancers. So this will be a very helpful and useful tool for them to use it on a day-to-day practice, which will help them keep them up to date. Because if I'm not up to date, I'm not offering the best to my patients. Yes,
absolutely. And it's really the volume of information that is being thrown at you that you have to digest in real time. So in these tumor board meetings, to provide the context of you've got clinicians who are very busy, you've got this time, and if you're spending that not necessarily having the right information available, then that's wasted resource. So when you were using it, were there any links into trial abstracts, etc., that you were able to use within the tool itself? There's a one-page treatment summary. Was that enough for you to act with, or were you able to link on to the actual data itself?
Yeah, I think what is helpful is that you can be as direct or just minimalist as you want. So if I just want to see what's out there, I can get the information. But at the same time, if I want to be as comprehensive as I want and do a literature search and debate this during our tumor boards, we can do that. And that's what happened with my colleague, actually, because she wanted to know specifically for this patient with this hormone or HER2 status with bone metastasis, which regimen to probably choose best. And then just to know the options. And then, well, I need to know the letter. I want to do a comprehensive review. I want to have an hour-long discussion. Everything is listed there. So we can be as comprehensive as possible, but at the same time practical. If I'm in between patients, usually, obviously, all oncologists are busy. I'm in between patients, and rather than going to, as various websites that can provide you all the information, guidelines, again, they lag behind, they take some time. Here I have practical information. I can review them, and I can just review the literature, the papers that are published, phase 2, phase 3 data, and even investigational treatments. We know for our oncology patients in their second line, third line treatment, when we exhaust multiple lines, and there are not many treatment options that are available. If I have a tool that tells me this is investigational, I can explore that, because this is another option that I can offer to my patients. Obviously, knowing the differences, the side effect profile, etc. There are many treatments that we offer that could be investigational, not necessarily approved by the regulatory bodies, but with data supporting that.
Yeah. And I'm going to squeeze a few more minutes of your time, because I know you've probably got a busy clinic lined up. But I'd love you to just dive a bit deeper on that education piece. How is this useful to residents who are in their training, who are prepping for certification? How do you see this being a tangible resource for them?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we all went through training, right? I did my residency, I did my fellowship. We were bombarded by information and all the resources that were out there. And we used to debate which book to read, which one not to read. And then I would realize after a while that no, I spent a month on this. I should have done a different way. And there are a lot of responsibilities as a trainee, right? Journal clubs, grand rounds, and the wealth of information once we go in, even on PubMed. If I search specific topic, I'll be lost. Let's just be practical and be honest. I'll be lost. This is a very helpful tool I see for trainees as well. I don't miss my trainee days, but if I put myself if I go back years ago, I would certainly use a tool like this. And that's because if I'm preparing a certain topic, when it comes to, like, say, I'm preparing a ground rounds or journal club, I would put all this information. I will get all the literature that are particular to this, rather than me searching or browsing the internet and finding different articles. I have everything summarized in front of me. At the same time, for my own knowledge, not just preparing for a presentation, but if I'm seeing a patient tomorrow and I'm still not confident yet because I'm a trainee, I'm still learning, this is a good tool for me to go back to put, and these are the treatment options, and I can review the literature and get the best treatment option and be an amazing fellow. I think it will make a difference when trainees use a tool like this versus just browsing the internet, browsing various professional medical websites, obviously. And we all just get lost in that. So I think it simplifies things.
Totally. I mean, I'm thinking back to the time where I was trying to do research and I'd found this brilliant topic and I thought, oh, no one's done this before, only to find through an extensive PubMed research after I'd laid it out and written the abstract that actually somebody was already starting on this research. So it would save time when it comes to even writing up research and seeing what's out there or what's been published imminently and in a timely fashion. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, and you're very welcome to stay for the rest of the webinar. But I know that you've got a clinic, so if anyone has any Q&A, do feel free to pop it into the chat or reach out directly to us as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah, for your time. Right. At this point, I'd love to invite Dr. Chad Levitt to the forum. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Thank you for your time today. Really excited to hear from you. So I'm gonna drop you straight in the deep end.
All right.
Why this tool? What about this specific solution draws your attention to it, or could you provide us some background in that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks again, Anna and Dr. Sarkisian and everybody. So I am a radiation oncologist by training. Practice wearing lots of different hats in academic, community setting, private practice, run lots of clinical trials, tumor boards, departments, in different environments over 23 years of practicing. I have a little bit of a unique perspective on the utility of a tool like this, because in the last couple of years, I launched a patient consulting and advocacy practice, really to try to fill gaps that are created by what's going on in the landscape of healthcare today in the US, which is a lot of institutional and corporate models consolidating healthcare. That being said, I wear a few different hats today. Really, I created this consulting practice just direct to patients to let experienced oncologists, myself and my partners, work directly with patients who have no, and we as doctors, we have no other incentive other than just to help the individual patient and whatever their journey might be. So we're deep in the cutting edge molecular genetics science of oncology that may or may not yet be established as standard. We're also deep in the utility of creating enough time, space, education, expertise for each individual patient to sort of feel and get precision-based medicine, whole person-based medicine based upon their individual characteristics, both the characteristics of their individual disease as well as their own personal makeup on, you know, how they're wired, so to speak, philosophically and historically. That being said, there are a lot of tools today compared to when I was in training, where we really had to make our own little cheat sheets and what we used to call the peripheral brain, our notes in a little notebook that we'd keep in our pocket. Now, there are a lot of apps, there's a lot of established guidelines, a lot of shorter techniques that help both in training as well as actual practice. But to be honest, there's not one comprehensive tool to look at guidelines, research, side effect profiles, drugs, clinical trials, patient-oriented pathways that can sort of fill everyone's needs. And that's what this tool does, is it actually brings together in a comprehensive one-stop shop everything that I or many people in different settings of clinical practice or as a patient supporter, advocate, or patient themselves would be looking for. And it's really impressive how much has been accomplished already in the short time since development and its sort of origin story to the launch just this week, in that depending upon the hat you're wearing, whether you're an academic researcher, you know, with a grant to study one or two different types of cancers where you're very focused and at the top of your expertise game on your specific research interests, or if you're more of a generalized practitioner, oncologist, either in an academic setting or a community setting or in private, maybe more rural setting, you really want to have a comprehensive picture of how to best help the patient in front of you. And I guess the short of it is that guidelines, which are published and mulled over and have all sorts of inputs from different people on panels and institutions representing patients as well as healthcare systems as well as doctors, are really the common denominator that just says, is what's being done to this patient standard of care by the base levels? Do you meet par, so to speak?
Yeah.
You know, and at the same time that everybody has access to guidelines, which there's some tools that can look algorithmically at the guideline, in which case we don't really need oncologists anymore, or we're getting there pretty quickly, where AI and some of these tools can just follow the dots on an algorithmic textbook-based recommendation. In parallel to that, we have so many breakthroughs on the scientific side of what we can do and what we're able to do to custom tailor a patient's journey, a patient's treatment to their needs, to their disease, as well as their individual preferences, that what's happening in some manner is as we institutionalize healthcare, which is being based on guideline-based algorithmic medicine, and then we have patients who deserve more individualized medicine, there's a gap. And there's not really a right or wrong way to practice. If you practice standard of care, you practice standard of care. I created this advocacy consulting practice really to limit the number of patients and maximize the amount of time that my team of doctors and administrative team have to spend diving into every little detail on an individual patient, that we know that each patient brings to the table once they're diagnosed very specific cultural, philosophical, emotional, characteristics that they deserve. We all deserve the ability to custom tailor our treatment, as long, is based on real science, based on guidelines, based on standards, but to our own individual preferences. And if you don't have the time and bandwidth as a physician to meet that patient in the same place that they are currently as a recently diagnosed patient, we're probably spread thin in a manner that we don't really do as much for each individual patient as we would like to. You know, all of us doctors went to medical school, specifically had a calling for oncology. You know, there's a lot of altruism that goes into wanting to take care of some patients dealing with some pretty significant and serious life or death, often situations with cancer diagnosis. So what's happened is that whether you're academic, whether you're community-based, whether you're private practice-based or not, it's not really that realistic in the current environment to say, I have enough time, energy, resources to delve deep into the diagnostic workup and into the informed consent discussion where we're discussing all the options for this patient and help them to understand the pros and cons of each decision. And there's a lot of decisions that come along with a cancer diagnosis. And then also to have the bandwidth to be really good at delivering treatment, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, immune therapy, targeted therapy. And so a comprehensive one-stop shop tool really buys back a ton of time and resources for a physician in almost any setting. It also builds an enhanced care model on top of a foundation of guidelines and textbook-based treatment that, to be honest, ChatGPT or an algorithmic tool or a newly trained person who just passed the boards and knows the right answer on the multiple choice test in the textbook backwards and forwards is able to do. You know, there's a base core type of care, and then there's what we can do. Now, there's often in science and in healthcare, we can do something. The real question comes down to, should we? So it's become to a point now where if I feel like I have a great understanding on a certain disease topic or disease site or not, I can almost find a publication, a study to support anything that I want to do. I mean, within reason, not within outside the envelopes of what could be standard of care. But the data is so overwhelming, like Dr. Sarkeesian was saying, it is overwhelming to do a PubMed search or to do a clinical trial search for each and every patient to the degree that we'd like. So this tool provides whatever point of view and set of information in a at your fingertip ready manner to say, all right, here are the guidelines, here's the textbook, here's the different levels of research, here's the potentials for clinical trials, here's the potentials of what just happened leading to the newer trials. And it allows us to much better cater to each individual patient in what a lot of people are terming like whole person care or precision-based oncology. I don't believe currently, anytime soon, that all the innovations in tech and health tech and AI are going to be the savior of all healthcare where the humans are no longer needed. You know, people often say that AI is not going to replace doctors, but doctors who understand AI will replace doctors who don't. And tools like this that provide a comprehensive approach for whatever hat you're wearing as the care provider or as the treating physician are going to be invaluable to a human acting as an interface to deal with the patient in a manner that is humanistic. Meaning, we need and we owe it to our patients to give them the language to engage in their own decision-making for treatments. And some patients may say, well, look, I get what you're telling me, the standards are, the guidelines say this, but you know, whether it's reasonable or rational or not, someone might say, well, you know what, my grandfather got that drug and I have such bad memories of how much he suffered because of the side effects and things that even if you're telling me it's what may offer some of the best statistics, I don't want to expose myself to that. I mean, informed consent means that we help patients understand the risks and benefits of the standard treatments and give them options to make their own informed decision. And what's lost in healthcare, unfortunately, today is patients understanding that this is just the same thing as wanting to be an informed consumer in anything that you might buy. But in order to understand the pros and cons of a TV or a car or a pair of shoes, where you speak the language, healthcare and cancer specifically is a foreign language. So patients get fraught with the trauma of a new cancer diagnosis. They're scared. It feels like there's urgency. They have to face the realities of life and death and thinking about the human condition. And they don't speak the language, and doctors are spread so thin. This is not a beat up the doctors. This is definitely a hate the game, not the players landscape today. And the doctors want to do more. Tools like this will give each and every doctor the opportunity to engage those patients the way they really truly want to and cater to them. Are you someone who says, hey, if there's any chance that my statistics of beating this cancer are going to be improved even a little bit, let me understand the downside, the possible side effects, even if it's not standard, but it's something that perhaps is FDA approved, but not studied in a randomized controlled manner. Like Dr. Sarkisian was saying, we might be able to offer that to a patient given informed consent, meaning they understand this isn't standard. They understand there's things moving towards this being successful, but it hasn't quite made its way into the canon of guidelines and textbooks, which are usually a few years old. Yeah. So one of the things that I love most about what Anna and the team have done in developing this, from my point of view, is also I already gave myself the time to dive deep into the science and listen and be present and mindful with each and every patient that I work with. But my workload ends up being, after I've met with them, discussed with them, gone through what their options and treatment choices are, I want to provide that back to them in a layman's term format that they can use as like a strategic plan to say, okay, if the tests show this, we're going to go this way. If the tests show this, we're going to go this way. And then you can pivot as long as you kind of know where you're starting from, where you are, and where you'd like to go. So translating all of these complex moving parts of science, care, experience stuff, and guideline-based treatment recommendations into layman's terms is a challenge. Mm-hmm. But an extra layer that's been added onto this tool that is more reliable and objectively robust than ChatGPT or something similar is that there is a patient-oriented summary of how did we get to these recommendations. So you could before you even walk into the room with the patient, you can have an idea where the science and the guidelines are going to point you. And then as you're there with the patient, you can use this tool, as Anna showed, very quickly, and even, with the patient right there, and say, look, here's the level of data, here are the potential risks, here's the potential benefits, here's the side effects. And in real time, right before you even leave the room, you can generate a layman's terms pathway for the patient to have, take home, and reference as they meet with all of their other doctors. So what this tool does is it makes it so I don't have to go search as much for which application, which website, which current guideline tool do I want to utilize. This puts them all into one place. And I also don't have to go and do a PubMed search where it's going to take me hours and, after I get home usually, or on the weekend when I'm worrying about a patient that I just didn't have completely settled in my mind. It removes most all of that. So it's a dynamic, augmented, referenceable, comprehensive tool that's already at a really impressive place and is only going to get better. So I'm excited to be part of this project. I'm excited to use it even in the situation that I'm currently working with most patients, but also be able to use it and share it with other doctors who equally will find it helpful and useful and in navigating their interest in caring for patients.
Yeah. Thank you, Chad. That was extremely comprehensive, and you really painted that landscape of the precision medicine approach that we are all trying to achieve for our patients now that the research is really empowering us to do so. Also, that piece around actually explaining to the patient what's going on and using that visual tree as a resource for the patients themselves as well. What's your interaction with patients like when you're trying to, explain to them the treatment pathway? What are some of the barriers there, and how does this address that potentially?
So, like I was saying, my current practice, which is only 2 years old and is just grown out of the need being created, not trying to provide a service that historically wasn't provided, just filling these big gaps that doctors and patients alike have sort of fallen into and get glossed over as institutional medicine happens in this way, as the science happens over here, and then the doctor and the patient are just left in the middle. So my interactions with patients are usually, by the time they find us, really rewarding, because without even knowing that oncologists in the space of patient advocacy exist, because most oncologists, right, are tied into the treatment, who they work for, the insurance companies, the referral patterns, and they have to sort of stay in their lane, for a lot of reasons. So by the time patients get to us currently, they know there's more that they could be getting out of the healthcare landscape, at least here in the US. Either it's a customer service issue, it's a communication issue, it's a comfort level, or they've got different doctors in different institutions, or they want second opinions, or they need clinical trials. And our service brings together a one-stop place for all of that. So this tool helps me spend even more time than I already set aside with each individual patient. Often a patient finds us and say, gosh, somebody told me I really needed to reach out to you. I was just diagnosed, or I've been diagnosed and now things are kind of not looking great, or I've got questions. And we say, okay, well, what exactly, what are you looking for? They usually just describe, I want someone in my corner that really isn't incentivized by anything other than helping me through this whole stressful, confusing, scary process. And I want to know that they're experienced enough to know the current science as well as the guidelines, and help focus all of the care and everybody's attention on me, the individual. Because a woman with a stage 2 breast cancer is not defined by that stage 2 breast cancer. And I could have twins with the same biologic and genetic makeup next to each other with the same guideline-based diagnosis, who choose appropriately completely different pathways for their treatment. And they're both right. So this tool also gives me the ability to listen and be present and mindful with each patient interaction to try to figure out, how I can put myself in their shoes. And when I'm spread thin all day long in a hospital setting, going from clinic office to clinic office, patient to patient to patient, it's a really hard mind space to get into, to say, all right, if this were me, what would I want? Well, the answer to that question, which all oncologists ask themselves routinely, because we all help friends and family once or twice or more a month anyways, and we know it makes a huge difference when you step back and you immerse yourself in the patient's shoes and their situation, and then try to complement it with the foundation of didactic, guideline-based medicine that's enhanced by opportunities that science is outpacing. So, this also helps me communicate with other clinicians. If they have a question, we put these guidelines and these recommendations and this summary right into the patient's hands, and they can take it with them, and we can help them communicate it and help them advocate for themselves. So we have a practice where our mission is advocacy through education. And the education piece is probably a part that has gone by the wayside with most institutional-based medicine. And patients know that there's something more out there than just what they can look up on ChatGPT. And the doctors know that too. But rather than picking from here and here and here and here as a doctor, which also is very time consuming and hard to be proficient in. This really does fill and check off tons of the boxes that any of us would want in a comprehensive patient-oriented tool.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. There are key takeaways there for me. It's that a contrast between that standard of care guideline-based approach and actually being empowered to now have a more precision-based approach. And we heard on our first webinar how important that is from a patient lens, and how ultimately groundbreaking it can be for their therapy and their treatment, as well as that bit with advocacy through education, not just for the provider, but also the patient as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Chad. Please do stay on. And I'm going to actually invite Dr. Sarkeesian back. You thought you'd probably escape me, but we'd love to welcome you back to the floor, Sarah, if that's okay. We've got some new attendees since you were first on, and we'd love to explore the tumor board conversation with you again. So welcoming you back to the stage, to the floor. If
Sarah is, I'm going to find him. One more.
Yeah, I'm here. The video.
Yes.
I'm unable to turn the video on. It says it's
Yeah.
disabled by the host.
Okay, perfect.
Here I am. You can see me, right?
Yep.
You can see and hear me.
Yeah.
Yes. So the question is about using this tool for tumor board discussion, right?
Yes, absolutely. Particularly for our guests that have joined us in the second half of this webinar as well. So if you could just pick up and touch on those key points again for us, Saro, that would be great.
Absolutely. So yes, I think it's very helpful. Obviously, we have our tumor boards, multiple tumor boards in a week, and we do have the specialized head and neck, breast, lung, etc. And guidelines, guidelines are very good, but we need the data. We need the latest approval, even investigational treatments. And what we see is that what I tried actually with my colleagues during our breast MDC using the tool is provide all this information, provide the hormonal status, HER2 status, staging-wise, all this information. And this creates a very good educational discussion, because when you have multiple oncologists, multiple radiation oncologists, you will get different opinions. And that comes probably from prior experience, from prior patient experience, and also comfort using certain type of treatment, etc. This widens our horizon, because now I know if I use this particular regimen for the treatment, there are other regimens that are approved as well, that I should be vigilant to. For example, one of the discussion that we had when we had this, the case of the hypothetical case of breast cancer with bone metastases, and then we started questioning, this is a good regimen, however, this patient has underlying liver issue, so this regimen is probably not good, and that opens up the discussion. And because of these kind of discussions, we in a good way, we digress sometimes from that case, and we start discussing about various options. And one of the topics that we came, for example, standardizing our molecular testing. We realized that when we were using this tool, that things are just falling apart probably. We are not utilizing our molecular testing the way we do. Maybe we should standardize it, or maybe we should make our pathologists also reflexively test for molecular testing. So it was eye-opening, and one of my breast oncology colleague, she was impressed. She said, this is something that's even in the field of breast oncology, if you just focus on that, things are changing rapidly. HER2 negative, now it's HER2 low, and now we have all this information of using adjuvant treatment, neoadjuvant, metastatic setting, treatments are different. So that's a very good discussion. And I think once we have once we have obviously the lung, but once it becomes prostate and bladder, that's going to be a great opportunity for us to have educational discussions, to come up with newer ideas and share ideas and learn from each other.
Absolutely. It's that we're not negating the power of experience, of course, that you all hold, but also the landscape is changing so rapidly from a research lens that upskilling each other, challenging in a good way, that's what these boards are designed for. That's why we're coming together as collective minds to really think ahead and think what's best for the patient. And this is empowering and facilitating much of that conversation, if I understand that correctly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we want to help patients. We want to be up to date. We want to help them to the best of our ability. That's why we all sign up for medicine in the first place. And for oncology, it's a unique field. Oncologist, it takes special person to work to be an oncologist, an oncology nurse navigator, an oncology infusion nurse, because it's not, we're looking at the patient as a whole, right? It's not as a whole person. We offer these treatments. If I'm targeting lung cancer, I'm offering treatment for lung cancer, but I may deal with complications which would be systemic, and I have to be very informed, very well informed about how to deal with this. Because of these kind of tools, we can, our discussions, and we can share a lot of information. And what I like is you put this information, I can start from backwards. I can start with bone metastasis, and I can go the other way, backwards, rather than going forwards. And the tool that Anna developed, and it will become much more user-friendly, obviously, with time, and it will be very useful for us. And my colleague, she was thrilled.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Saro.
course.
And I brought you back on there because I wanted the opportunity for everybody to hear from you. So thank you for that. So
Thank you very
I mean,
much.
to summarize some of the conversation that we've had already from yourself and Dr. Chad as well. Really, it's the patients and the conversation that we're able to have with them. It's the clinicians of today and the experienced clinicians who this is a really tangible resource for, and the clinicians of tomorrow. So the residents that are in training and really shaping an environment that cuts down some of the noise and allows them to target either their research or their education to the relevant field as well. So that's probably my summary there. At that point, I would love to invite Anna back on, our the founder of Oncoscope-AI. Anna, are you there?
Here, yes.
Great. Thank you so much. So we've kind of gone on a bit of a journey. We started with yourself and the demo that we had from you, and then the context that Dr. Saro and Dr. Chad provided for us there. So what does this mean going forward for everybody that's on the webinar at the moment? What are the next steps around this?
So we're launching our pilot, our first version 1.0 today, and that is available. But this is just, for me, this is the start of the journey. And as you've heard, as I am learning from our advisors, I am working actually very closely with both Sarah and Chad on completely two different kind of sub-projects. So on one hand, with the launch today, we feel this is a basic tool. This is essential. We're going to call it essential, we decided. Essential tool. But it still does not have everything, because we want to help Chad and doctors like Chad to create a better patient communication version. We realize that we want to give them something that they could generate a printout, an easy report for the patient to take home, so that the patients can understand what it is they have, why they have a certain therapy recommendation, and what they can expect from that therapy. So we're just starting because we were waiting to launch, but I already have a prototype. And as a matter of fact, I saw Shanice is here on the call, and I was waiting for the day because I'm going to work with Shanice very, very closely. For those who do not know, she is a patient advocate and a most admirable person who is living as a survival of cancer. So I am going to make a post to try to invite someone from lung cancer as well, because I mean, cancer, there are differences. We're going to start to work with patients directly to try to make maybe not yet a patient-facing tool, but a patient communication from the doctor, where the doctor can have the discussion and add that to our essential tool as the basis. On the other hand, and in parallel with that, we already started, and that was Sarah was talking about, because I showed him the prototype already, because I was talking to him. And I said, okay, when they're discussing at the level of the tumor boards, you may not want to, you are not thinking one patient at a time. You may need to understand what's new in adjuvant therapy, for example, or what's new with ADCs, or what's new for a specific mutation right now. You know, what is with HER2 low? Where do we have therapies? Do we have adjuvant therapies? Do we have only second line, metastatic second? You know, what other parameters may be important at this point? So we actually creating a new version of the tool that is not going to be instead of the first version, but in addition, for a different, so a doctor can curate their experience depending on what they're looking for. So it's more of, we're going to call it the edge, because those are the people on the edge of changing how we treat the patients. And that tool would allow you to search the data. I mean, the database that we've collecting is probably going to become, and it's already is, the richest and the cleanest. The clean is actually the key, because it's very easy then to search and manipulate. Because we have that, we are going to create a tool that allows people to search in different directions. You know, it doesn't always have to be in the same direction, and allow them to look at additional maybe patients' characteristics, subgroups, criteria, and see it so more from a different perspective of a doctor. So that's where we are right now. I'm amazed at that, and I'm very, very excited that we have something to give to the doctors now, but we are already on our versions. I'm not in charge of version control, thank God, because I do not know, but I really, really am excited that we have the advisors that take that time to create it with us, to, you know, be a part of this journey and to help us create the other versions.
Yeah, I saw some heart emojis from heart reactions from Olivier Petit. That sounds great. The fact that the future is also bright in terms of customizing, curating the experience for the clinician, I think is really, really reassuring. And clearly there's a roadmap ahead for Oncoscope-AI, and this is the beginning of the journey. So it's been an interesting first day in terms of the launch. How are you feeling about it all? This has been such a big day. Tell me what the launch of this product feels like for you.
It's very, very exciting, but it is stressful, I do have to say, because the truth is we have I believe 750 people on the list that expressed interest, and we are offering it's to verified healthcare professionals. This is a free license, which means it's an individual license. So I am, you know what I'm busy with? I am sending emails, one person at a time. Okay, I've just started last night. So if you are one of those who are listening to this and you're one of those 700, please, I am getting to you. I am going to spend all day over the next 3 days, all days writing those emails, because there are different, you know, individuals, and I want to make sure I make a connection, because some have tried the tool, have been in our beta version, and those are our preference. Of course, we prioritize them. They've spent their time, they gave us comments, so they come out first, and then everybody else. And we will be getting back over the next couple of days to all of you. I'm not going to miss anybody. Okay, it doesn't matter which country you're from. Okay, because we do get a lot of different countries. I thought it'd be US overwhelming. So this is very, very, very exciting. And I just want to say one thing before we close. We will be at ASCO in Chicago. We will be there every day. We actually have a kiosk. That's a new thing ASCO told us. It's a small version of a booth, you know, for startups like us. Yeah. And it looks like it's in the middle of the floor where all the big ones are, where all the big companies are. We're there. There's going to be like an innovation area, and we're a part of that innovation area. ASCO selected us to be a part of that, and gave us a space at the kiosk, and we will be there If you have any questions, I will be there every day, morning till night, and with my colleagues, and it'd be lovely to see you. Thank you.
No, that's incredible. And your passion and dedication for the cause, it's not only stand out for me, but people within the chat as well. We have Shanice, clearly very excited to be part of this journey. We have Ahmad Akande looking forward to receiving his email. In fact, I received my email shortly earlier today, and that's what I'm going to be spending my evening doing, which is having fun on Oncoscope-AI. So thank you, everybody, for being so engaged. We've had reactions in the chat. We've had a lot of comments, chitter-chatter going on. We love to hear that. We want to get the conversation going, flowing. And also thank you to our incredible guests, Dr. Saro Sarkisian and Dr. Chad Levitt, as well as Anna, of course, for taking us on this journey today. There's going to be incredible, useful content that we can watch back around some of their really important, valuable comments. So that's it from me. Any further Q&A, you're always welcome to send it to us directly, either myself or, if I may speak on your behalf, guys, to the speakers directly as well. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. Look forward to engaging with you. And we will see you on the next one. So thank you all for your time. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you may be. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.